Hi there. Thanks for checking in with us. It's a little cold today. It's about 20 degrees today, so I'm not trying to emulate an image. I'm just trying to stay warm. You know, we work with a lot of people on a lot of different portions and parts of their horse on a regular basis, typically in a clinic form. So there's a lot of information to give out in a very short period of time. And so things that are important like hip and shoulder and rib cage and headset and all those parts and controllability become a lot at one time. I've noticed lately a real big problem with a lot of folks riding that don't understand the simplicity and the controllability of the hind end, the hip. It's so important. It affects everything else past the hip as far as being able to find collection and find a headset and a neck, bend in the neck, and just an overall controllability of the horse. And so I wanted to take just a couple minutes and go over that real quick. Now this is Bullseye. He's a bridle horse. He's in a spayed bit these days. Today we have him in a 1/2-inch Hackamore Bozal, and he likes to go ahead and transition back and forth sometimes, and I stress that with our clients that you do that and give them a break sometimes. You'll find they become a lot lighter and less rigid about having to do the same thing or use the same tool all the time. This is his day off. He just gets to play. So Bullseye, with that education, also is very light. He doesn't really need a lot of cue to get a lot of stuff done. All I'm going to do is simply show you a positioning of a hip off of a hip cue as far as how we would like to see it. Now it's going to be a little heavy at first. I'll demo it how I taught him in his first 30 days, and then I'm going to make it very slight. And so I just want you to see the differences as far as how to get to the point of a real light feel. In the beginning, you're going to have to get these guys to put their head to the inside, as I asked here with him, and get your leg way past center and get them to move that hip over. Now it's not going to be as pretty as that at first. It's going to be choppy. It might be heavy. He might drift himself over. But your job as a rider that's educated is to look for that little change. He may not even cross his leg over. He may not even step over. He's just going to move his weight past center, and that's when you release your cue. You build on that. It's really important. If we don't, they're going to become hesitant. They're going to become grouchy about the situation. It just turns into a wreck. I'm going to go the other way. I'm going to go ahead and pick up my hand. I'm going to go ahead and reach past center and get that hip over. There, that's all I'm looking for. Very slight. Now you saw that he drifted off the center and corrected himself on the front end. Well, I could say that maybe it's because his head was off to the inside. I manually corrected his headset. I don't know. We'll see where he's at today with the rest of it. As you educate further your education with your horse as far as the hip cue, what you should be doing is looking for a slider try. And I'm moving my cue from my foot up to my inside of my calf, to my knee, to my upper hip, and eventually what I'd like is this. I'm going to go ahead and move his hip over to the left. So he missed my knee cue. I kind of had to go over off my calf, but he stepped over. This is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the change in him, which to him, he won't typically show because he's educated. He already knows how to do this. A colt at this point would show a lot of expression. Start licking its lift, taking a deep breath, and that's super important that you wait and allow them to find that. Now I'm going to place his hip to the other side. So I've already laid my leg down past center. I'm asking, he crosses over, I come off cue, and go ahead and pet him. Now, he never moved an inch. He may have dropped his head, but he never tried to move forward, back, left, right, or move a shoulder, and that's important. I need him to make sure he understands that he needs that hip isolated. If he doesn't, what tends to happen is that they tend to try to find a comfort zone, and they kind of wander off on you. Again, that's part of just education of the horse. It takes a little time. The second thing you need to really pay attention to is your hands. Now, as I said in the beginning, I really try to ask his head to come over because by doing this, I'm able to automatically get this inside hip over. My hand is coming diagonally through, and it's actually cueing this inside hip to drift over. And I'm applying a leg cue in front of that. It's a real dramatic cue. It's something to really make sure they understand, yes, I mean get your hips over. As we start getting refined, again, it should be just like a cue, and eventually what you're looking for is the dance. If I can keep this going on a hip cue, boy, you're going to get somewhere. Now he's kind of drifted off the center. That's fine. That's no big deal. I'm not going to grill him, but I'm going to ask him again. Hip, 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 hip. This is everything, guys. If we don't have this controllability, it's gonna show up later on. It did with him. I actually skipped this exercise with him in the beginning of developing Bullseye because he could rope, and I went past his real foundation stage, and I certainly ended up having to fight it later on in his career. Don't do that. You need to make sure the foundation is solid before you move them on, and this is a huge foundation tool. Again, it's pretty easy. You need to try it at home. Don't get frustrated. Give yourself plenty of time. And when that horse does make that change, whether it's a weight change or moving that foot over, boy, make sure you release a cue, you pet him, you make life really good for him. This is good stuff, guys. Tune in with us soon. We'll have some more good stuff for you. Thanks.